Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we will be making baked Msemen bread. I hope you enjoyed the video and let's start with the ingredients. To make the dough we will need about 700 grams of all-purpose flour, 500 milliliters of warm milk, 4 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of instant yeast, 4 tablespoons of butter. I added also half a teaspoon to the flour. The first step is pour the warm milk into a container, a bowl or measuring cup, add in the sugar, the yeast, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. Mix well till the yeast is completely dissolved. Add the flour and the salt into the bowl of a stand mixer. You can easily also make the bread by hand. Start pouring in the milk and the yeast mixture into the flour mixture slowly. You might need less milk than 500 milliliters, so add the milk slowly. When the dough comes together like so, stop adding the milk. The dough should be soft and elastic but not very sticky at all. After about 7 minutes of kneading, the dough is almost ready. Add in 2 tablespoons of the soft butter at a time and knead one more time till the butter is completely incorporated into the dough. Add in the other 2 tablespoons of the soft butter and knead till again completely incorporated into the dough. The dough is ready. It's soft, it's very elastic, but it's not sticky at all. The dough, like I said, it's not sticky, it doesn't stick to your hand. That's how you know the dough is ready. Oil, you can use either a tray or a large bowl like I'm using here. Oil very lightly the bowl, also oil your hands and the dough. You want to keep the dough oiled at all times because otherwise it's gonna dry out. Squeeze small balls from the dough. Try to make them small rather than big because we are going to use 2 bowls for each pastry. Oil the dough lightly. Cover with a plastic wrap and a kitchen towel and allow the dough to rest for about 30 minutes. Do not let the dough rise till double in volume because the dough is going to rest when we will be shaping it later on. So we don't want it to be overly risen. After about 30 minutes, the dough is ready to be shaped. For the filling, I am going to use about 2 cups of candied walnuts that I crushed. You can use any other nuts you have on hand. You can grind them with about 4 tablespoons of sugar and a few drops of almond extract. I'm going to use about 150 grams of soft butter and about half a cup of vegetable oil. Let's begin by shaping the dough and stuffing the bread. Oil the work surface very lightly with the vegetable oil. Working with a piece of dough at a time, flatten the dough using your fingers. And also at this point use only vegetable oil, do not use the butter. Once the dough is almost see-through, you can see the work surface through the dough. Use about half a teaspoon of the soft butter and butter the dough lightly Sprinkle on top about 1 tablespoon of the filling and fold like so. Each time you fold the dough, you need to butter it because we want the bread to be the layers of the bread to be separated, and the butter is going to give that it's going to give us that separation. So fold into a square like so and put aside. Keep the dough and also the work surface lightly oiled. Repeat the same step with half of the dough balls and keep the half empty. As I said at the beginning of the video, we're going to use for each pastry 2 dough balls. Once you're done filling half of the dough balls, spread the dough of 1 dough ball at a time, butter, then sprinkle a little bit of the crushed nuts. Place 1 prepared square in the middle, flatten lightly and fold like so. Like I said, don't forget to butter each time you fold the dough. Repeat the same steps. At this point, you can either use a little bit of the filling or you can leave it plain. But you need to use the butter, of course. Repeat these steps till you're done with all the dough balls and you end up with rather big squares of dough. At this point, the bread has rested, so it's easy to shape. Take the square, flatten it lightly, then pull the ends of the square inwards towards the center. Then pull all the sides of the square towards the center. Flip the bread to the other side and flatten it, and you will end up with a circle. Try to flatten the dough as much as you can, but not too thin, about 2 centimeters or centimeter and a half thick. Place the bread into a prepared pan, either oiled lightly or lined with parchment paper. Here I mixed 2 egg yolks with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then I'm going to brush the top of the bread with the egg yolk or the egg wash. I am having the oven preheated to 350 Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius. I baked the bread for about 20 to 25 minutes in the preheated oven. For the bread, it depends on what you have on hand. For this one, I used some of the filling that was left over. I sprinkled it on top. Then when the bread was done, I sprinkled or I dusted lightly with powdered sugar. For the rest of the bread, I baked it plain. Then when it was out of the oven, I brushed it with jam that I heated up in the microwave. Then I sprinkled a little bit of the silvered almonds on top. You can add anything you have on hand, like I said. This is what the bread looks like on the inside. It's very soft, but at the same time, the layers of the dough are separated. It gives a very nice texture and the flavor is just amazing. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you try out the recipe and love it just as much as I do. Bon appetit, and I shall see you soon. Bye.